Hello everybody, how's it going out there? I am doing my best to try and get some more videos. And one of the ones I'm going to do, which is the one I'm going to be doing right now, is there was a suggestion put up of just play with the makeup. Don't worry about the names, don't worry about the colors, any of that. Just play with the makeup and see what happens. And my friend Anya, who is also on YouTube, did one of these just recently, and now I'm going to do one as part of getting back into the swing of things, just like I promised on my little filler screen thing. Anyway, all I'm going to do is just go through what I normally would do and kind of chatter at you for a while. Now just throw some primer on and that kind of thing, and throw some foundation on, throw a little other stuff on, and eventually get a finished look. Now, just as part of what goes on around here, my filming space is currently my bedroom. Part of that is because my grandchildren like to come running through places at top speed and top volume, and in my bedroom the only noises I have to worry about is my husband on a game or the dogs having a bark up. They do that. I have two little dogs that may eventually make an appearance. They're very cute. They're adorable. One is a little Jack Russell, and he's from a line. The bloodline originated in Dublin, Ireland, which is part of the reason he's called Finnegan, or Finny. But that bloodline isn't the long-legged version of the Russell. He's actually a very short little compact dog who thinks he's a Great Dane. The dog will make you crazy every so often. That little dog can take up more space in the bed than I do, which, much to my husband's regret, he likes to sleep on his side of the bed. Well, both dogs like to sleep on his side of the bed, which, you know, even though we've got a king-size bed, there's not always a lot of room once the dogs get in. And he's not quite as round as I am, but he's a sizable guy. So, you know, he really does appreciate it when he can get some space to spread out. These little dogs like to get, they especially like it if you're laying on your side with your knees curled just a little bit, because then bigger dog, Lolly, who is her mom, was a standard Russell, and her dad, we were told, was another type of small terrier, but we are pretty sure her dad was a traveling man that happened to pass through the backyard. So she is descended from a long line her mama fell for, and we're pretty sure it's a yellow lab that is daddy, just because at 10 years old now, And at her size, at 20 pounds, she looks like about a 6-month-old or so. Well, between 4 and 6-month-old lab puppy. And yet, she was our rescue dog. Finny we got from a very reputable breeder. And they wanted us to have Finny because he was the runt of the litter and very tiny. And they were worried because some of the people that had come to see him had small children, and both the adults and the children were going on about how little and cute he is, and they were scared to death that the kids were going to think he was a toy. And yeah, toy size, but not a toy. So we got him, and not for some great horking huge price. He wasn't that expensive. We did sign papers that said we would not try to breed him or show him as a show quality dog. He's been altered, so he's not making no puppies. We definitely didn't want him making puppies after we got Lolly, because we're going, we've got 2 dogs. If we want another dog, fine. We'll go get another dog from the shelter, kind of like we did with Lolly. That was actually a private rescue. A friend of ours was working for a little pet shop where they sold supplies, but somebody knew about these little dogs, and they got picked up, and the pet shop said that they would help. We're in a little bitty town, so yeah, I've got a lot of texture in my skin. It's sometimes a pain in the rear trying to get everything smoothed out. That's some better. Let's have a really close look here. And tink, 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 tinkle-dee-dink. Wah! Oh, believe me, my makeup will never be perfect. It just won't. For one thing, my skin isn't perfect. It's like, it's wrinkly. It's old. It's got issues. So, there you go. Don't worry, I'll be right back. There. Get some powder, because I'm going to set this where we're at. Just to get this kind of, I don't like it when it stays sticky. You know, it's kind of like when you get popsicle all over your hands and everything feels sticky. And no, this is not going to get rid of all of the shiny because I've got all that moisturizing stuff under. Now, my husband and I, we met in one of the ways that a lot of people think is very unusual. We met through a science fiction convention. We were both working as staff at the science fiction convention. That is a fun job. It really is a fun job. It's not a paid job. It's a volunteer position. You go into the convention and you do a little work. And usually they'll help you out with your entry fee, maybe find you what's called crash space, someplace where you can just get a little sleep. Sometimes they do a little better than that. Sometimes you end up being semi-permanent staff, which means they own your soul. Yeah. But I have met some of the most incredible people by way of the conventions. And it's not just the stars that show up at the conventions that I'm talking about. I have met some incredible people that, yes, are stars, are authors, are artists. But some of the people that I have met have just flat become some of the best friends the world has ever had. And I got lucky enough to find them. They have stood up with me through everything. Everything from my second divorce. Yes, I've been married and divorced before, twice. They stood up with me when I got married, the third time, to a man who'd never been married before. Yes, I caught a fresh one. And, that thing about third time's the charm, well, I found Prince Charming, okay? And they helped when I was out of a house, when my husband had his stroke, the husband that I'll have been married to for 25 years coming up shortly. Which for me, the first two both lasted 5 years. That was it. And, hey, sometimes things just don't work the right way. They didn't. I got out. I went on with my life. I met the man. Had a great time. Meeting at the convention. He actually let me and my second husband stay with him for a while when our house was no longer livable. We had a little bitty cabin up in the mountains in Virginia, and my second husband was not exactly helpful around the house. The man could build cabinets, okay? Could build cabinets. Would not keep up his own place. Hey, that's where we were. Now, my honey bunny, Mr. Jim, let me and the second husband lived with him for months. We stayed in his place because our house literally was not livable. I mean, when the rain is coming through the roof in a little cabin, ... it's time to pack it up and do something else. I got started on my eyes and forgot to put my widgets on. These things, I think, are the best things on the planet. For one thing, they don't rip your skin off like some tape will. I'll tell you more about them when I do the 2 L's. Do 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 do. Okay, now I know where my eyebrows go. Let me get my eyebrow pencil out and proceed to put on my eyes. I need to put my eyebrows on so I know where I'm going. Anyway, when we met at that convention, we were both talking to each other and just yakking away. We were working a security shift, keeping an eye on one of the large rooms that the convention used to host some of the events and to be what was called the con suite, which is where you could come get snacks, get a drink, basically hang out, not worry about anything, just do your thing and kind of hang out. But because there was nobody working the con suite, we needed to have somebody sitting in front of the con suite. We sat in front of the con suite and kept people out because it was closed. And there were things in there that we didn't want people to run off with. There were games and extra food and sodas and such. And, you know, if it's not kept an eye on, even fairly nice people will run off with stuff now and again. So we kept an eye on it. And we're talking and talking and talking. And both of us are going, hey, this is really wonderful. It's really nice talking. I really like this person. And then a few minutes later, my husband comes down the hall, and I looked at him, and I looked at the man sitting in the floor in the costume right in front of me, and I said to myself, Self, you married the wrong person. I told myself that immediately. Jim became friends with me and my second husband. And literally, we just went on about our business for a long time. And then, like I said, he let us come live with him when our house was a wreck. And I'm going on and on and on, and it's like I'm going, okay, yeah, I really like him, but he's my buddy. I'm not, you know, me and the husband are having issues, but it's like he's my buddy. I'm not going to drag him into the middle of this. So things went on the way they went on, and eventually my second husband and I decided it was time to give it up. And we split. And me being me, I did all my own paperwork. And that kind of thing. So that was taken care of pretty quickly. We didn't have anything really that we needed to split up. We didn't have kids. We just went on about ourselves. Took about 6 months to get all the paperwork through, and there we went. Now, the minute that I got news from the courthouse that the judge had signed my paperwork, and I'm going, woo-hoo, yay, hooray, yippee, yippee, yippee. And I called my bestest buddy, Mr. Jim, and I said unto he, I said, I am a free woman. And he said, not for long you're not. I'm going, what? And his response to what was, will you marry me? And I went, yes. It like just, yes. And I'm going, what the hell did I just do? No, really, what the hell did I just do? How did this happen? And we talked it over and talked it over and talked it over and spent our first night together. And pretty much, except for when he was traveling for his job, we pretty much have not been separated by anything except hospital stays and his travel for 25 years. Well, actually, we were together about a year. And we got, when we did the engagement, we had an engagement party. And then a year and a day after the engagement party, we had the wedding with the minister and all the fancy clothes and everything. I may have to put some pictures up of the fancy clothes because both of us are into costuming. He's got a degree in it. He went to school to be a costumer. He was wardrobe master at the Shakespeare Theater at Folger in Washington, D.C. for several seasons. He was manager at Stein's Theatrical Supply. Our wedding clothes were definitely not the average. My wedding dress consisted of parts from designs for various gowns, including one from the 1500s, which was the sleeve pattern for a gown for the Volksgräfin Dorothea von Neuburg. Beautiful drapey thing. And the neckline was, I think it was Spanish, but I liked it. So there you go. We put everything together. I basically had a custom-made Renaissance dress to fit me. It took us 9 months to make it, but hey, what the heck. You know, we decided that if we were going to do this wedding thing, that I was determined I was not getting another divorce. I figured 2 was plenty. And I felt more confident about my wedding to him than I did with any of the others. Now, the first one's another long story that'll wait for another time. Now, let's see. That's not too bad. Let's see what else I do. Okay. Just pack a little color in here and see what happens. Now, a lot of this is not going to show in here unless my eye is closed, which is why I'm going up so high on the eye, because that hood will drop down and hide things. Watch. See, with my eye open, unless it's up here, you're not going to see it. Don't worry, it will get blended. There will be blending. It will not just be sitting there all by its little self. Now, I'm not putting this on in particular with water or setting spray or glitter glue. For one thing, it's fairly late in my evening. It'll be coming right back off. I'm not going to make it stick forever. Just not. Itch, 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 itch. Hate that. Having neuropathy in the hands can make things a little difficult when you're trying to do stuff, because all of a sudden your hands will just start itching. Or if you're doing a lot of walking, your feet will just start burning. And it kind of is distracting from what you're trying to do otherwise. Now, since I can hear some of you through the airwaves having an absolute screech, because I've got the burgundy shadow so close to the eyebrow, I'm gonna go ahead and play with that now and get that fixed by lightening that up with a light shimmer to take care of that eyebrow space. We'll get it down a little bit. We'll take it down from the bright, 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 and more into a pinky instead of the burgundy. Perfect? No. Fiddling about with colors? Oh yeah. That's me all over. I never promised perfection with this. I had no idea what I was going to do when I started, so there you go. Now, let's see what concoction I'm going to put at the front. Paler pink. Put this lovely, lovely pale pink. Again, perfect. Now, none of it's ever going to be perfect if I'm doing it, darlings. My hands shake. But we'll go through and give it a blend. And you can still see just the hint of that orange that I started off with, right in through here. There is no perfect, at least not in my house. Let's have a look at this one. Now this is completely out of the color range I've been using, but there's me, what the heck. Put this in the waterline here. Being sweaty. Ah, ew. Being sweaty. It's a fairly warm night, so could be worse. Anyway. Ta-da! Do-do-do! Not too bad. Now, the hubs and I, we've been all over the place together for this 25 years, and it's been a really weird all over the place occasionally. We were both born at the same hospital 3 years apart. Which some people would go, didn't they figure it out the first time and block it? You know, nobody gets out of this that easy. Nobody gets to escape the Ann and Jim phenomena. Not even the doctors. And we grew up basically within a few miles of each other. We know some of the same people from neighborhoods we've been in. But we didn't meet each other until that convention. We're still trying to figure that mess out. My dad even knew of Jim's grandfather that lived in the same town. More by reputation than anything, but hey. It was very, very strange that, we went to rival high schools and didn't go to the same church, none of that. But we knew the same town by heart. We'd gone through a lot of the same things, just at slightly different times. We knew where the best restaurants were. We knew what the next city over was like, because we grew up on the edge of D.C. We grew up in Virginia, right across the river from Washington, D.C. Washington, D.C., and being that close to Washington, D.C., meant that what was national news for a lot of people was what we saw at dinner time all the time. DC news, it included all of the government stuff, even though it was technically national news. Even the little neighborhoods had more national news going on than we had the little local stuff for the neighborhoods. There was always the national news. It's like, I thought it was like that everywhere. When we finally moved away from the immediate DC area, I started seeing other forms of news, and it just confused the heck out of me. I'm going, wait a minute, what happened? Where's the congressional report? Where's that? It was very weird. But it meant that if something was going on, anything that was going on in the national news, anything that was going on with the president or Congress or anything like that, we knew about it almost immediately because we had the Washington news bureaus right there. When I was a kid, I still remember being able to see the smoke rising over the city during the civil rights riots. It was an interesting time. And I still remember some of the trouble I got into because my parents did not appreciate my stand on civil rights. They disapproved of the concept that I was okay with civil rights. They were rather stodgily stuck in their upbringing. And I ended up getting in a lot of trouble on a repeat basis because I didn't see any reason to avoid some of the people they kept telling me I really needed to stay away from. And I'm going, why? I don't get it. I don't understand. I just don't understand. They're decent people. What's the problem here? And they never would give me a specific, direct answer, which made me mad. I'm going, you want me to stay away from people, but you won't tell me why. Okay, I'm just not, this is just not working for me. It just isn't. It's like I am going to talk to people, whoever I feel like talking to, and if that bothers you, that's your problem. And it did actually become a bit more of a problem for me in the 7th and 8th grade, because that was the first time we had an integrated school that I was in. And I had one cousin that was in the school, the same school I was in, and he spent a lot of time checking up on me to see if I was hanging out with that new student. And I did, because the kid was smart. He knew stuff. He helped tutor me through some of my math and some of my other subjects. I thought he was wonderful because he was willing to help the fat chick. You know, the fat chick, the one nobody else talks to. And I thought this was just delightful because he was willing to help. And I'm going, hey, I'm all about this. This is like, yeah. But my cousin decided he was going to tell everybody in the house when we were over at Grandma's. And don't you know, I think that may have been one of the worst butt whoopings I ever had. And that fool thought it was funny. And I'm like, boy, you and me gonna dance. Because not only is it not funny, it's not funny. It just is not. And I spent the rest of my school career in the same schools with this kid. And my cousin dogging my heels. I did have a lovely time introducing my parents to the young man when at graduation he was the school valedictorian and had received a full academic scholarship to Harvard Pre-Med. And I took a great deal of joy in kind of rubbing my parents' face in that and reminding him he was the one who had been trying to help me study. And yeah, that went over like a lead balloon, but I didn't really care at that point because I was out of school. I was on my way to doing my own thing. And there we went. And if I remember correctly, the gentleman now works for the World Health Association as a pediatric specialist, if I remember correctly. And I still think kindly of him. He tried to help me. Well, my family was busy being worried about his skin tone. So I still have some family members that would just as soon shoot me as look at me when it comes to that. Because obviously I just don't know what I'm doing. I obviously just ain't right. I just ain't right. I'm like, if I ain't right, too bad. Because if being like you guys would make me right, I got no time for you. I got no time for this. I got no time for that foolishness. Y'all can just go sit on a log somewhere and be all upset and unhappy that I am not jumping up and down and following your antiquated lead. Go do for yourself. Alrighty, now, this has already gone on a very long time. So what I am going to do is I am going to pause this and finish this up so that we're not going for like a full hour. That's a bit much. I'll be right back. Okay, the yucky old woman is back. And we have the lipstick on, we have the mascara on, we have a little bit of powder shadow under the lower lashes, and there we go. Anyway, yes, I talked a lot. And if you have any questions, just let me know. If you like what you see with the war paint, let me know. Leave me a comment. If you want to know what the actual colors are or the products, I'll be happy to let you know what they are. This was just an excuse to play with some color, have a good time, talk your ear off. I'll see you next time. Be good.